Say the words sexual harassment and you probably think of a woman as the victim, but that is not always the case. Today, correspondent Jenna Wolfe has one man's story.
Get down to business. Wait a second.
There, was that so bad?
No,
This steamy scene from the 1994 movie Disclosure depicts reverse discrimination, a female boss trying to seduce a male subordinate. The movie was a blip on the screen for most, but for James Stevens, it's real life.
Being a man, I guess, you don't think that you can ever be harassed. I didn't think that either until I went through it.
He says sexual harassment by a female manager ruined his life.
It destroyed my life as I knew it. And then to be blamed for it on top of everything else, I thought once or twice about taking some pills.
Stevens worked for more than 15 years at Vons Supermarket in Simi Valley, California. 2 years ago, he sued his employer, claiming his supervisor was inappropriate with him every day for 2 years.
Initially, it began with innuendos. It gradually progressed into more blatant comments, sexual comments.
Stevens alleges he got fired as a result of the complaint.
Major verdict this afternoon in a huge sexual harassment lawsuit against the Vons supermarket chain.
The jury believed him, finding Vons Supermarket culpable and awarding Stevens $18 million. Vons has since appealed. Despite stories like that of James Stevens, many men still feel reluctant to come forward. A lot of that has to do with how they'd be perceived if they did. Would you complain if you were sexually harassed?
Probably not.
You would not. Why?
Because I would think I should be able to work it out myself.
Would you personally complain if a woman harassed you?
Personally complain.
Think about it.
In all fairness, yeah.
Would you think differently about someone, one of your male colleagues who did complain? What would you think about someone like that?
I would think he was a wimp.
Because there's always this stereotype that when it's a man, it's different than it is for a woman. But I just think fair is fair.
Because we also want men to know that although it's usually women who are sexually harassed on the job, that they also have the right to utilize the law.
A law which is there for their protection. For today, Jenna Wolfe, NBC News, New York.
NBC News reached out to Vons Supermarket, which is owned by Safeway, and they responded in part. Safeway appealed the jury verdict. The trial judge agreed with Safeway's view that the $18 million jury award was grossly excessive and reduced the amount by almost 90%. Safeway paid a part of that amount and is appealing the remainder. This was a case of co-worker harassment. The company took the matter seriously, as we do any claims of harassment. Well, Deborah Kelly is an attorney who defends companies in employment lawsuits. Nina DeSessa is the chairman of a large advertising agency. She also wrote a book about her experiences managing both men and women in seducing the boys club. Good morning to both of you.
Morning.
Let me ask you, what can we conclude from that piece? As women go higher up in the ranks in terms of management, are we going to see more cases of sexual harassment brought against them, Deborah?
I think it's the downside of the upside. In private sector, about 36% of the officers and managers are women, and that puts a target on your back. Unhappy employees are going to take a shot at you because they can get a free claim with the EEOC, and there's really no downside to it. But I think before we decide that we should cast women gone wild in the workplace, we should think about the fact that these EEOC charges filed by men, they're up, but we have no idea whether the charges are against women or against other men,
because they
the
don't
EEOC doesn't keep those. They don't keep those statistics. Plus, the EEOC finds that over half of all sexual harassment charges have no merit at all.
Well, have you seen, Nina, I mean, you've obviously gone up the ranks and you write about it, you talk about it. Have you seen cases of reverse discrimination?
I think you're right. People don't want to talk about it. The worst thing that could happen to a woman predator is that the young men in the office will make fun of her and laugh behind her back, and then she becomes the butt of everyone's jokes, and that's horrible. You know, that's one reason. If just for that, you shouldn't do it. You know, you shouldn't get involved in that. I asked them in the company,
you shouldn't do it because it's wrong.
Exactly, but that necessarily isn't a deterrent to some people.
Well, I thought it was interesting in this piece how the gentleman who sued Vons, he said, this James Stevens, that being a man, you don't think that you can ever be harassed. And someone else said if somebody I knew pressed charges against a boss, a female boss, I would think he was a wimp. Does that suggest that men and women see sexual harassment differently?
I think they do, and I think that people misunderstand Title VII. It's not a we protect women law. It's a we protect anybody who is being inappropriately treated because of their gender. So it can happen to men and it can happen to women. But if the big story is 16% of cases are filed by men, that means 84% of the cases are still filed by women. So this is really the exception, not the rule, that a woman would be the harasser.
Yeah, but you don't have as many women in positions of power as you do, so obviously you're not going to see the same number. Finally, do most of these cases end in lawsuits or settlements?
Settlement. Only about 90% of cases settle before trial.
Yeah, I'd be suspicious of a case that's litigation only.
All right, ladies, thank you very much.